show, we've got a good one for you because I love it whenever we get news of the American people getting more of our hard-earned dollars back. Trump is making a huge change with Elon Musk. The entire federal government, he said that he is going to have Elon be his cost cutter and plans to fire and cut trillions of dollars of government spending and give it back to the American people. I love this because, again, too, we're giving billions of dollars to all other countries, give some back to the American people. There has been breaking news today. ICE has released their numbers, and there's been over 13,000 murderers, people that have committed homicide, that have come into our country and are free in the United States, not being detained by ICE. That's how many have come in the past 3.5 years. And that's not it. There's been over 600,000 criminals that have committed crimes in other countries and are here in the United States free, not being detained. They're just out there. This is breaking all the news outlets. All X is blowing up. This is huge, and we've got more details on this. It's very, very sad. That's why we're seeing a lot of this crime that's popping up. We also have Kamala Harris, who finally visits the border. She literally, there was a meme going earlier that she's talked to Zelensky 7 times in the past 3.5 years. She's been to the border once. Today we'll make it twice. It's super sad. She was the border czar. She did nothing with it. It was a complete failure. But we got a lot more breaking news for you tonight. Just want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. If you're not subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button. And if you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button. We really appreciate all the support. And just want to say we thank all those that give a super chat donation. To me and my family, we are truly grateful. And also, too, don't remember, we want you to join the True Life News family. We just posted our first video this morning of giving back on this channel. And just want to thank Bonita Utterback, who has joined the True Life family. Everybody show her some love in the chat. Let's grow this. As we continue to bring the top news, let's do some good in the world. But this is breaking news. Check it out.
In 3 years. ICE officials releasing stunning data showing more than 425,000 convicted illegal immigrant criminals. They're just walking the streets, including over 13,000 convicted of homicide and some 15,000 of sexual assault. Former President Trump pinning the blame right on Kamala Harris.
It's a killing machine. It's a killing machine, and they're killing people all over our country. And I've been saying this from the beginning of the Harris-Biden disaster. It's no longer an administration. And nobody who's allowed this to happen to our country is fit to be the president of the United States.
I agree.
They're dumping them in our country, and I never had proof. And I can finally look at them and see, I say, I told you so to the fake news. She should resign in disgrace for what she's done to our country, not run for president.
And Harris is set to meet with border officials and give a speech later where she will, of course, attack Donald Trump on the issue. A big contrast from what she said in the past.
I think there's no question that we've got to critically re-examine ICE.
We're not going to treat people who are undocumented across the border as criminal.
This administration
Wow.
has decided to vilify them and to trade on them for the sake of this president's medieval vanity project called a wall.
Would you be committing to close the immigration detention centers?
Absolutely, on day one.
They have pledged to carry out the largest deportation, a mass deportation in American history. What are they talking about?
What we're talking about, Greg, is what if you live in many of these cities all across America, you are seeing it with your own eyes. Like, you don't necessarily even have to go to the border to see the results of what's happened in the last 3.5 years, and then these numbers are pretty stunning.
In the real world, she would be toast. And I don't like getting riled up for no reason because the story is so unbelievable. I wanted to see if it was reported elsewhere. You know, it couldn't find it on MSNBC, CNN, Drudge. You have the release of hundreds of thousands of foreign criminals, like they emptied the jails, raped thousands of rapists, thousands of murderers. And
I want y'all to see the title at the bottom because they said this a while ago. ICE is reporting there's 13,000 illegal murderers that are in the United States. They're just in there. We don't know what they're doing. There's over 15,000 rapists that have been convicted that are roaming around the United States. We don't know what they're doing. This administration has been a complete failure on this border.
Pages of all of these networks, the death of Maggie Smith, which is sad, great actress, Lana Del Rey's marriage, P. Diddy rumors, but nothing about what is easily one of the most probably the biggest crime story I've ever seen. So we know that Democrats watch this show. Some of them hate watching. But if you're watching this, the media doesn't want you to know this information. They don't want it to reach you. They would rather you die or be raped than Trump be right or find out the truth. So you can hate Fox all you want. You can hate Trump all you want. You can hate me. But you can't hate yourself and your family so much that you're going to ignore a story that puts them in danger. Now, even if these numbers are off by 50%, please, I think that the fact checkers should fact check it. You know, tell us, no, it's not 16,000 rapists. It's only 8,000. It's only 7,000 murders. Cool. I'm glad you're okay with that. I'll take your fact check. But anybody who defends this or says it's not that big a deal is complicit, and they should be held accountable. Every victim of every crime by the people that are in here that we haven't vilified, who are actual villains, you need to file a class action suit against this government.
100%.
You know, these bastards were more offended by stories of cats being eaten than real stories reported here of actual rape and murder. And if you ask why those other stories existed, it was the only way to get these a-holes in the media to even look at this story. They can only see immigration.
This is coming from ICE. This is coming from a government agency. This ain't just some third party. And what's so sad, I'm keeping tabs on this. CNN isn't reporting these numbers. MSNBC is not reporting them. This is so messed up that they've allowed this into our country and none of the news outlets are showing it except for Fox and here.
It's a gotcha moment for political gain. There are actual people that are dying. This is a huge story. Where is it?
Judge, the amount of pressure on law enforcement and prosecutors to try to either track them down, I mean, they already had their hands full, and now it's so much harder.
You know, Greg, I like the fact that you said you didn't like getting riled up, but, you know, I got riled up when I heard this. I'm exhausted from being riled up. How dare they? How dare they let 15,000 murderers, 14,000 murderers? One guy from Peru has 23 murder convictions. Okay? They let them and they release them into the interior of the United States. They're flying them in. And they've been lying to us, saying,
hey, remember whenever Trump said that they're letting them out of their prisons and letting them into the United States? This data right here confirms that 100%.
the border is secure. Mayorkas, Biden, Kamala, the border is secure. The border is not secure. They've been lying and telling us that they're vetting these people. They're not vetting these people. They can't. They don't have the machinery to do that. What do? Call China at 11:30 on Saturday night and say, hey, we got a guy here. Can you tell us whether or not he's got any convictions for DUI? Look, the border is not secure, and Joe reversed 64 executive orders that Donald Trump put in effect that protected Americans. And now she's got the unmitigated gall to go to the border now as a border hawk. This is a woman who says something like that what she wants to do is she wants to protect Americans. She's going to go to the border like the fraud that she is to protect Americans. She can't protect Americans. She's in favor of sanctuary cities and sanctuary states, which is why these people are running free, because the Democrats who support these cities and states will not hand them over to ICE. They don't care if they are torturing and murdering people, they will not hand them over. So we get to live with these people among us who are sanctuary blessed and not in a position of being arrested. And, you know, we don't even know about the unknown numbers.
That's true.
Whether or not the unknowns who come in, we know 10 to 12 million that she let in, but the unknown gotaways and the known gotaways, add another 4 million there. We don't know who they are. So stop telling me that these people, they just want to start a better life. Prove it. It's on you. You have no right to come here. Come here the legal way. Pay your way. And you know what? She's going to throw more money at it. We don't need more money. The last thing I'm going to say is this. Stop letting people tell you we need asylum, let us in. Don't believe them.
This is so sad to see this data you can't deny it. It's from the government agency ICE. There is no getting around it. They have 100% let these people into the United States. Over 15,000 convicted murderers now roaming our streets in the United States. We have no idea where they're at. That's what's happening. And that's not even the end of it. Check this out.
Everywhere. Every single nightmare you had is about to come true if this crazy person gets elected. Here's one. It is a Friday, so I got to give you some good stuff, you know. They are starting to call out a lot of this on the left, the New York Times and elsewhere. Why? Now, I'm just going to read the chat. I know a lot of you in the chat are probably thinking what I'm thinking, right? You're probably thinking, well, why is all of a sudden the media starting to do like media and journalism? They're not, folks. They're not. This has nothing to do with journalism, I assure you. All this is the left is realizing right now, they probably got Kamala Harris's internal polls. They're probably starting to leak out. They are terrible. She is hemorrhaging votes with black male voters, Hispanics, and younger voters. Do you understand? There is no math for her to win if she does not absolutely rout Donald Trump. I'm not telling you we can't lose. We can lose. We can most definitely lose this race. I'm just saying to you, be realistic. This woman is in a world of trouble right now. And this Breitbart article sums up another problem she has. I've been telling you for probably, longer since I started the podcast, because Joe Biden was the vice president when Obama was in office and I started the show. Joe Biden, listen to me, please zone in, is a sociopathic narcissist. I mean clinical. Joe Biden believes he is the most transformative, powerful figure in politics of the last 50 years. Folks, I saw it in the White House. Please record this. Put it out on social media. I'm telling you, it's true. Joe Biden walks in a room. Everyone in the room thinks Joe Biden is a moron except one person. Joe Biden. He is a lunatic. He has this unbelievable, he's the smartest person in the room. Just ask him. Everybody around him knows it. Don't say you don't. Lefties watching the show, you've seen it. His campaign right now, he's running essentially his own campaign. He's going to bounce around the country now telling people how wonderful his presidency was, is annihilating Kamala Harris. Because now they're being reminded that Kamala Harris was part of all this. Inflation, the border, the global turmoil. Now he says this the other day, and I am hearing the Kamala Harris campaign is absolutely crapping their diapers. They need mama to change
This
it.
is
Breitbart.
awesome.
Joe Biden says he's delegated everything to Kamala Harris. Foreign policy to domestic policy. This is killing him. This is killing him, right?
Do y'all see this? This is how bad Joe Biden is. This is how you know that, unfortunately, up here, he's not there anymore. He literally said that he delegated his entire job to Kamala Harris. So the big disaster that we're in with the economy, with all the foreign wars, now we know whose fault it is because Joe Biden just told us.
Now, the Harris campaign is trying to run as a change agent from themselves while Joe Biden's saying, she can't change it. It's her stuff. Look, she did it. Listen to me, please. They are begging him. The Democrats, Pelosi, all of them. Please, Joe, shut the up. Just shut up. We got the is it bad enough shirt. The answer is it's getting there. Are we there yet? I don't know, but it's getting there. And nobody wants to be reminded of the last 4 years. And Joe Biden, who is a clinical narcissist, cannot shut up. He's running around the country telling everyone how fantastic everything is when everybody knows it sucks. I tweeted to Mark Cuban in the morning, the Shark Tank guy, this morning. Cuban tweeting out how the crime stuff is all fantastic. Crime is that. This is the Kamala Harris strategy. Pretend nothing Joe Biden did is happening. Crime, the border, the economy, inflation. Pretend you weren't the vice president and try to get Joe Biden to shut up when he says, no, you did everything with him. The left knows they've got a problem.
100%.
Don't pretend they don't. I'm not telling you Republicans don't have a problem too. We do. The Senate races, we're in some trouble, okay? They've got a problem too. Here's Jake Tapper on CNN, who basically calls BS on Pelosi because I think he senses there's an issue too. And he realizes Kamala's in trouble if she doesn't actually start answering a freaking question because everybody's going to start painting her with the Joe Biden brush. Watch this.
Do you think she needs to be presenting more meat on the bones of, I get that she's from a middle-class family. It's great. And I get that she feels people's pains. Great. But what about, like, here are the 5 things I'm going to do directly for you? Does she need to be doing more of that?
Mr. Tracy J. Norby. Oh my goodness. Everybody, show some love to Mr. Norby in the chat. Wow. He says, did you know Kamala Harris was the driver in the hit and run of a little girl and put on the young girls in a wheelchair? They should be exposed. Kamala for all she really is. Lise, put some of supporters chat to Isaiah House for me. 100%. Mr. Tracy J. Norby, show us some love in the chat. Let's go.
Well, she'll be doing some of that tomorrow once she'll put forth her economic plan. But people like to have a connection to whoever is running for office, that they share their experience, that they understand their lives. And I think that's what she is establishing.
Nobody understands in the Kamala Harris campaign your life. Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. You ready? Questions are always better than assertions. Who of you out there never had a real professional job, dated Montel Williams, had at a minimum a relationship with a powerful power broker in California politics, leveraged that relationship at a minimum, and I'm being nice, to then gain multiple political positions, had a political party clear the way for you for a Senate race, and then ran for president on your own and got absolutely destroyed and didn't make it in, and then had a presidential nominee pick you for DEI reasons. He said, not me, I don't know why they're not proud of it. He said it. He said he was picking his presidential candidate, not according to merit, but according to these characteristics. Go look it up. You don't have to ask me. How many of you can relate to that? The answer is nobody. She is totally unrelatable.
100%.
Totally unrelatable. Nobody can relate to any of that. You think the electrician out there who's been building his business for 20 years, if he makes one mistake, a house burned down, and he winds up getting sued, you think the electrician can relate to this? He never had a political benefactor like Willie Brown.
Not even
or
close.
Obama helping out. He never got to run for office with a bunch of powerful insiders helping him.
No.
The hell are you talking? You never dated Montel Williams. Folks, this shit happened. You can look it up. Oh my gosh, it's insulting. What's insulting? It happened. It's not my fault she made these decisions. You think the American people can relate to this? She is
not even close. Let me tell you this, because again, 2020, she ran for president. She got 0 delegates. And then she literally walks, and she had the lowest percentage rate out of any VP ever, 28%. And then they want Joe Biden out. She's the one that can get the money, so they put her in. She's literally been given this entire thing. But besides that, Trump is just going off not only on all the government waste, but now I love what he says right here. You are going to love this, because I'm telling you what, him and Elon Musk are going to do some good stuff. Check it out.
The only way they'll get rid of that tariff is if you build the plant in the United States, not if you build it in Mexico, which is what China and others do. If Elon wants to sell a car. By the way, Elon Musk gave his total endorsement. Elon, he gave me the greatest, beautiful, most beautiful. He said, we're not going to have a country left if Trump doesn't get in. And you know what I'm going to let Elon do? Unless you people disagree, I'm going to get Elon, and he's great at this. He's going to be our cost cutter. I think he can save trillions.
Trillions!
He wants to do it so badly. I don't think I can get him full time because he's a little bit busy sending rockets up and all the things he does. But he's so much into that. He said the waste in this country is crazy, and we're going to get Elon Musk to be our cost cutter. He's going to do it for zero. He doesn't want anything. But he wants to see this country be great, and he'll do it. And having his endorsement is a great endorsement. We have some really great endorsements, I will tell you that. But we'll get him involved, and mostly on that side of it. And it's going to be incredible what he'll be able to do without hurting anybody, or just waste. It's waste, fraud, and abuse. Do you ever hear the expression waste, fraud, and abuse? You get rid of that, everybody lives much better. We have a country that's really strong again.
That just is so beautiful. It's so refreshing, because as many times as all we hear is we've got to raise taxes and we got to get more money. We need somebody to get in there and actually cut the fat. Get away from these omnibus bills that has so much crap in there that it's like 3,000 pages long. Nobody ever reads it, but they're spending billions of dollars on God knows what, and it's all of our taxpayer dollars. But let me tell you this. If there's anything that I love, I got to bring my boy Scott Jennings in here, because listen what he has to say about Kamala Harris trying to visit the southern border again.
For me, are Republicans for Kamala Harris today. In fact, I think the Trump campaign line today ought to be arsonist returns to scene of crime. I mean, look at the last 3.5 years. We've got the border has effectively been open, people flowing across. ICE today released information that there are 13,000 non-citizens convicted of homicide and almost 16,000 non-citizens convicted of some kind of sexual crime who are in the country right now. Only because we're in the shadow of an election is Kamala Harris trying to rush and pay some lip service to this issue as a tactical matter. Anderson, I don't think Harris should be trying to...
Look at this dude on the left just shaking his head. How can you deny the facts from ICE? How can you deny that this person with that smug look on his face thinks it's okay for this to happen? We've had Laken Riley. We've had a mom of 5 who have died all from these illegals. We've had that 12-year-old girl that got raped by 2 illegals. And yet he sits there. They think this is not news. They don't think this is real, but real families' lives are affected. That's why we need Trump in office.
This issue, because this is the best ground from which Donald Trump has to fight. So no, I think the Harris campaign is making a tactical mistake, and I think they have very little to say that the American people are going to buy on this today. Anderson, it's worse than that. It's not that it took them too long. It's that they actively worked to undo everything Donald Trump had done during his time in office. On the first day, they rescinded all of Donald Trump's border executive orders. The floodgates opened. All these people come rushing across. Then it becomes a political problem. And now at the end of the election, they want to blame it on Donald Trump. For her entire career, she has wanted a more permissive immigration structure. When she ran for president before, she wanted to decriminalize border crossings. In her heart of hearts, she wants a more liberal, permissive immigration structure. And in his heart of hearts, Donald Trump wants to crack down on the border. That's why when you look at the CNN polling this week, Trump is far more trusted on immigration than Harris. That is not going to change because of this visit today or anything she says today. The die is cast on this issue.
100%.
If I were her, I'd want to bury this issue, not make it more prominent. But hey, if she wants to have border events, I think Republicans will rejoice because it'll increase the prominence of this issue for the last month of the campaign.
Let me tell you this. That's been such a failure. People's lives have been lost. Guess who gets charged for these illegals that are in the country illegally, that were let in illegally? Tell me which government official has to be held accountable for it. Because you can't. This is the thing. It's so sad. There's been people's lives that are forever changed. Why? Because the administration opened the borders and let these people in. This is, to me, the dumbest policy ever. people need to be held accountable, and we need change in leadership. But other good news is coming out. We don't always just tell the bad news, guys. Check this out.
Trump is talking on the border yesterday. Not only is there a problem, and Harris and Biden have a lot to explain, but she goes to the border later tonight in Arizona. New Fox polling now in two of the battleground states. This is Georgia. It came out with it late yesterday. Margin of error is 3.5 points, so this is still a very close race in Georgia. Harris at 51, Trump at 48 in Georgia. Also out west in the Southwest, and this is where, well, part of the reason she's going there now, this is Arizona, okay? Biden won it by about 10,400 votes. Margin of error in 2020. Margin of error still there, but Trump leads there at 51-48. What's happening there for Trump on Arizona on the issues? This is
right
why
here.
He has this lead. Immigration plus 15, economy plus 8. Watch that on the issues in all the battleground states as we move through them. I want to bring in Karl Rove right now. Karl, good morning to you. What do you see in the numbers in the Fox polling, and what do you think is significant right now? Hello.
Well, you had a good number there that you plopped up, but I want to put it in a little bit of context, which explains why President Trump went out yesterday. Yes, in Arizona, he's leading by 15 on who's better able to handle immigration, and on the economy, plus 8 in Arizona. But that's down 5 from the last time we polled in Fox polled in Arizona in August. Down 5 on here. He was ahead by 20 on that issue. Down 7 on the economy. He was up by 15. So he campaigned wisely seized on the idea that she's going to the border. She's going to be talking about it. So set the table for the media, set the table for the voters, go heavy after her on immigration.
Yes.
Make the case. I wouldn't be surprised if two things didn't happen.
Look at the tide. This is just sad. Look at the title at the bottom. Harris makes first border trip in over 3 years. She was designated to manage that border. And it's been over 3 years, and she's only been there once? Tell me somebody who's utterly failed at their job, yet still has a job. That's what tells you about the dang government, and they don't hold nobody accountable.
One is he says something after she goes to the border, and second of all, we see a wave of advertising in Arizona that deals with the border and knocks her on her record.
Her event is at 7:45 p.m. Arizona time on a Friday night.
Right.
To me, that doesn't scream, I want everybody to watch this. And David Plouffe was quoted, I think, yesterday saying that the Kamala team has the advantage in the race overall, in the presidential race. Do you think he's right?
Well, first of all, let's talk about where she's going. She's going to Douglas, Arizona, in Cochise County. 39%. That's what Joe Biden got in the county. On the other hand, it is not the part of Arizona where there are these scenes of a mob of illegal aliens crossing the border, throwing themselves through fences and over walls. It's a relatively placid part of the border. So she's going to a place where she can be, quote, on the border, but it's not the place where they're going to be able to say, well, she was there today, but look at what happened 2 weeks ago, or look what happened last month. The second issue, though, is Plouffe is right in one respect. This is a battle over two sort of arenas. The issues where Trump leads on 3 out of 4 of the top issues: the economy, inflation, the border. Depending on whether you include health care and a couple of other things, abortion is generally either 4th, 5th, or 6th. She leads on that issue. On character, she has erased some of the advantages that Trump had when he was compared to Joe Biden, like who has got the mental acuity and physical stamina to be a more effective president. And she's winning on the margin of who cares about people like me, which is an important index. President Trump carried that issue, for example, in 2016. People thought he cared more about people like me than Hillary Clinton did. So we're just going to see a battle on this. Trump is going to push the issues. She's going to push the character and try and diminish his advantage on the issues. We'll see how it all plays out, obviously, in about 39 days.
I got about 30 seconds. How Biden keeps helping Trump. The president plans to annoy voters by touring the nation to tout his record. Give us your 30-second ChatGPT summary on that, Karl.
Why President Biden's going to go out and say, look what a great job I've done? He's underwater. People don't think he did a great job.
No.
He's going to suck up the airtime that would otherwise go to Kamala Harris. He's going to give Trump a big, juicy target to hit at, and is going to remind the American people exactly why they're grateful that he's no longer running. This is the stupid maneuver by the White House. I'm sure Mar-a-Lago is cheering.
Absolutely.
Let me tell you this. If you vote for Kamala Harris, and I just truly want to know, if you're in the chat, why? With all the data, all the facts, get away from the gaslighting. Why? Because forget about Trump. Let's take Trump out of the picture. Just for Kamala Harris herself. Because I always see these videos where they say, who are you voting for? Kamala Harris. Oh, yeah, but she's great. Okay, tell me one of her policies. Why? And they can't say nothing. But please, can somebody tell me that in the chat? I promise, I'm looking at it. I want to read it. But check this out.
She just let in 10 million illegals. Half of them were convicted criminals. That means about 5% of the Biden-Harris migrants are ex-cons. And Biden-Harris have no idea where they are. They let in 13,000 convicted murderers and lost track of them. They let in 15,000 convicted rapists, and now they're gone. I always assumed when an illegal was caught by Border Patrol and they did a background check and they found out the guy was a convicted murderer, they'd immediately detain them and deport them, but no. I had no idea Biden and Harris were catching convicted killers and letting them loose into the country. Oh, you murdered your brother? Here's a court date in 5 years and for your asylum hearing. Take this free phone, get on that plane. I hope you like New York. Oh, you raped a kid? Here's a free sandwich, a free sex change, and a bus ticket to Houston. These people aren't seeking asylum. We should be seeking asylum from them.
Wow.
Trump says, I told you so.
Some egghead maybe said, oh, it's wonderful to release people, and it sounds so nice. We're releasing migrants into our country. But these are killers. These are people at the highest level of killing. They'd cut your throat, and they won't even think about it the next morning. These are convicted people for life, are now in our country, and I can finally look at them and see, I say, I told you so to the fake news. What Kamala Harris has done is unforgivable. It's a crime, what she did. It's got to be criminal. There's no greater act of disloyalty than to extinguish the sovereignty of your own nation, and that's what she's done. She's ruined our nation. She's ruined our nation.
And the media called Trump a liar for saying countries were emptying their prisons.
Right there.
Well, where do you think 500,000 ex-cons came from? The gym? The fact that they impeached him over a phone call while Biden and Harris are processing rapists and murderers into the country. How is that not high crimes and misdemeanors? So along with the 300,000 migrant kids they lost, Biden and Harris lost tens of thousands of migrant killers and rapists, and the whole time they said the border was secure.
The border is secure.
You're confident this border is secure?
We have a secure border, and that is a priority for any nation, including ours and our administration.
Democrats say Trump's dangerous. How? Because Kamala Harris is importing convicted murderers and rapists into America and then lying about it. She's the most dangerous presidential nominee in the history of American politics. She's created a geyser of sex trafficking, crime, addiction that'll impact America for decades. And she never went to the border once, but decided to go today of all days, a month before the election. I'm sure it has nothing to do with the election. Kamala's in the Tucson sector of Arizona tonight, the epicenter of her crisis. Look at how Biden-Harris blew open the border in Tucson after it was under control.
Wow.
And now she's there for a photo op on the eve of the election. And look how staged this border visit is. This wasn't about her seeing anything with her own eyes or learning the truth about illegal immigration. This was about getting the right shot of her walking along the border wall with Border Patrol agents.
Fake.
We can show that. A wall she said she doesn't even believe in. Border Patrol agents who she falsely accused of whipping. Remember? She said they were whipping Haitians. Now, no one else will show you these scenes we're showing you. But what you're looking at is a frenzy of Harris staffers wrangling photographers to get the perfect picture as fast as possible so they can all get the hell out of there and just say they visited the border. Kamala was only actually at the border from 6:11 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., less than 20 minutes.
Did y'all hear that? So you know Fox had somebody out there checking this out. She was there from 6:11 to 6:30, less than 20 minutes, to view her disastrous policies, and it just blows my mind. This is what I can't stand about politics. This is like why I want to get into this type of stuff, and I want to hold people accountable for this type of stupid, just job failure and just a spit in the face to the American people to have the audacity that after you let in all these criminals, you let all these illegals in, and then now you want the people's votes, and now you want to say that you're going to secure the border?
That's not visiting the border. That's just a photo op. The cameras weren't even allowed to get the audio of her walk and talk with the agents, so we have no idea what was discussed. She never even addressed the press. It was like she walked the runway and went backstage. She was just there to show off her border outfit. And before her big border security speech, which we've been waiting for 4 years, they had a wacky woman warming up the crowd. Watch.
I came all the way from California, heard of, woo! That's right! That's right! Let me hear it! Let me hear it! She's driving in any minute now, and I want her to hear you in the car. So what do we say? Kamala, Kamala.
Are you kidding me?
This is supposed to be a deadly serious policy speech. And they have a warm-up act telling the audience how to clap, like Gutfeld exclamation. Kamala is blaming Trump for the problem she created and telling you everything she wants to do to fix it, but never did when she had the chance. She says it's time for a strong border. Well, why hasn't she done it? She's stopped Trump's border wall and then sold the extra steel for scrap. She ended Remain in Mexico. She brought back catch and release and has deported less than 1% of the illegals she let in. Less than 1%.
Wow.
If she wants to stop illegal immigration, she should stop flying them into the country. She claims the border crossing numbers are down.
You know what I wish would happen? Let me know your thoughts. I wish that each candidate would sit before a panel and that panel would go over and say, look, this is what you said you would do, and this is what you actually did. And it'd be very non-biased. There would be no questions. There would just be this is what happened, and this is what you did. And you have to sit there in live television and look the American people in the eye, and you either going to smile or you're going to be sad about what you actually did for the American people. I wish they would do something like that so she could face the music on the failure she's done to the American people.
She's just not counting the migrants she's flying here and sending to the ports of entry so they can break into the country with their border app. Remember the one you make a reservation to break into the country with? Open table for illegals, as we call it. And what's the point of asking for more Border Patrol agents if they're just going to keep catching and releasing people?
Exactly.
Fentanyl has exploded under Kamala's watch. Why hasn't she done anything about it? How can all of this be Trump's fault if he's not in power? But she is. He doesn't have the power to do anything about the border. She does. Kamala keeps saying she prosecuted drug cartels in California. Then why didn't she do anything as vice president? The cartels quadrupled their cash flow under Harris.
Wow.
They're the only ones who have wages going up. If Kamala Harris really wanted to secure the border, she would have called the Border Patrol chief and made a plan.
I've never had one conversation with the president or the vice president for that matter. And so I was the chief of the Border Patrol. I commanded 21,000 people. That's a problem.
Think about how backwards all of this is. The border czar brings 500,000 criminals into the country and thinks it's mean to deport them. She thinks it's cruel to deport criminals. She's actually promising mass amnesty instead of mass deportations, when the majority of the country wants mass deportations.
Wow.
Everyone in America knows better.
She's trying to make the case that, you know, she has been tough on the border as a prosecutor in California. What do you make of that? What do you make of that?
It's lies.
What do you make of Democrats trying to argue that they are tough on the border?
It's political rhetoric that's an absolute lie.
The Border Patrol is calling Kamala's visit tonight nothing more than a check the box and slap in the face to the American public. They're asking, where's she been? Kamala went to Europe before she went to the border. She deserted the people of Arizona. If the election was held today, Kamala Harris would lose Arizona. The last 3 polls out of Arizona, Donald Trump's beating her soundly. She knowingly put Americans' lives in danger for political power. Mass migration would lead to mass amnesty, which would lead to a massive amount of new Democrat voters and congressional power. Americans have died and will continue to die because of this reckless political gamble. Kamala Harris has blood on her hands. And I know the American people will never, ever elect someone like that as president of the United States.
We don't need to. We need somebody who's actually going to say, why don't we build a wall?
She just let in 10 million.
Because you remember, whenever she called Trump's wall a vanity project, like, it just blows my mind that people just are gaslit and don't see it. Hey, Mr. Tracy J. Norby says, OMG, just so insane that what Kamala's head is thinking. I don't think she is thinking, just to be fair. She needs to be put in prison for treason along with Biden in the swamp, fill the prison up. I'm telling you this. Somebody needs to be held accountable because you can't, Americans' lives have been lost, and I haven't heard not one official, Mayorkas or whoever, that's going to be held accountable for these American families that'll never be the same. Thank you so much, Mr. Tracy J. Norby with the super chat. Everybody, show him some love in the chat, please. But now, I'm telling you what, this is the future. What you're about to hear is the future, and this is who we need leading the country.
Policies. Now, let's just tick through a few more things. Gas prices are up over 30%, thanks to Kamala Harris's policies. Groceries in total are up about 25% in the state of North Carolina, thanks to Kamala Harris's policies. A gallon of milk now north of $4. Ground beef was about $3.50 a pound when Donald Trump left office. It's now close to $6 a pound, thanks to Kamala Harris's policies. My friends, we could do so much better. And to the folks watching on TV or who will see clips of this is not hard. There are some things in politics that are hard, some issues that are complicated, but we just need to get back to common sense economic policies so that American families can afford to feed their children the food that they want. American families, we want American families to be able to afford to buy a home again. Yes. Think about this. The American dream, it means different things to different people. To me, it always meant becoming a good husband and a good father. But to a lot of families out there, the American dream doesn't exist without home ownership. People want to own a stake in this country that all of us love. Well, thanks to Kamala Harris's policies, housing is 56% more expensive than it was just 3 years ago. Now, I know a lot of us know young Americans, young families, our kids, our grandkids, and we just want them to be able to afford that American dream of homeownership. But thanks to Kamala Harris, it's not happening. And we got to remember, it's not just because Kamala Harris cast that tie-breaking vote on trillions of dollars in new spending. It's also because Kamala Harris let 25 million illegal aliens into this country. And as much as the media doesn't like to talk about this, when you let in 25 million people into your country that shouldn't be here, and you have them compete against Americans for scarce homes, that drives housing through the roof, and that's 100%. Exactly what we've seen. This border invasion has made homeownership unaffordable for the majority of American families. And I happen to believe that we ought to have a president who says American homes go to American citizens, not to foreigners who don't even deserve to be in this country in the first place. here's the other problem. We talk about the border crisis, because that is maybe the most significant unforced error of Kamala Harris's administration, is we have got 25 million illegal aliens. Now, you know what kind of stress that puts on the municipal budget of Charlotte? You know how hard it is to afford to provide housing and health care for your citizens when Kamala Harris lets in millions upon millions of people who shouldn't even be here. And that is exactly what she has done. Thanks to Kamala Harris's policies, you've got a lot of American families and a lot of American cities that can't afford to provide basic necessities to their citizens.
No.
But it's also just a huge problem for crime and public safety. Now, a lot of you know my personal story. A lot of you know that I grew up in a working class family and I was raised by my grandmother. I called her Mamaw. Like a lot of Appalachian people, I called my grandmother Mamaw. And by the way, let's give a shout out to all the great grandparents in the room right now who are helping take care of kids. We love you. But think about this. When I was part of the reason my mamaw raised me is because my mom, God love her, struggled with opioid addiction for a big chunk of her early life. And there are so many great blessings that came from having my grandmother raise me, but one of them is I just had safety and stability that I wouldn't have had without her. Now, I'm proud to stand here today and say that my mom has been clean and sober for almost 10 years, and we're so grateful for it. Thank you.
That's awesome.
And for those of you who are struggling with addiction, or those of you who have families struggling with addiction, there really is hope in recovery. But there's only hope in recovery if we give people that second chance that we know all American families are eventually going to need from time to time. And here, you know, I remember as a teenager, my mom had taken something that she shouldn't have taken. And I was so terrified that she was never going to wake up from this coma. And I was in the hospital and, you know, a few days, we didn't know what was going to happen. And I remember just begging, good Lord, Jesus, please let my mom wake up this time. Give her another chance. And that time, thank God for me, my mom did wake up. And we did get that second chance. And she eventually got clean and sober. And now we're in a great place. But we know that with the deadly fentanyl that's coming across the southern border today, Kamala Harris has let the Mexican drug cartels turn this state and turn this country into a drug trafficking zone. I really believe that if the poison Kamala Harris lets come over the border in 2024 was coming over 10 years ago, that we wouldn't have got that second chance with my mother. And so we say to Kamala Harris, to every illegal alien, to every person who has contributed to this border crisis, we need a president that's going to go to war with the Mexican drug cartels, not invite him to do business in this country. And that's why we're going to make Donald Trump the next president of the United States.
Sandra Esparza, thank you so much for the super chat. Said, so ready for November 5th and never hear Kamala's name ever again. I'm with you. Show Sandra some love in the chat, everybody, because right now, this is like, I'm not joking. We need Trump to win, because if Kamala wins and we still got to report over their crazy administrative policies, I don't know if the channel can take it. It's just too bad. I'm telling you, we need better leadership in the country. You heard it earlier. Not only have they let in murders that are roaming free in the United States, but rapists and all these that are unaccounted for. That's the people that they caught. That's not the people that there's so many. There's 2 million known gotaways. We have no idea. And this Biden-Harris administration is who to hold accountable for. And how do we hold them accountable? We go and vote. We early vote. We make sure that we get the vote out there and we win this election. Just want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. Y'all are so kind, so loving to this channel, to me and my family. We're so thankful. We have the video where we did our giving to the Isaiah 117 house. Like, y'all don't know how I'm super excited about where this channel is going and what we're going to be able to do together to bring good, positive change and to bring action into this crazy world for good. Just want to say thank you to Bonita for joining the True Life family. Remember, the link to join the family is in the description. Thank you to Mr. Tracy J. Norby with the super chats. Appreciate you so much. And Sandra for the super chats. Show them some love, everybody, in the chats. And just want to say thank you. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button so I can serve you every day with the top news and make sure you're informed. We appreciate everybody in the chat. If you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button. We are going to make change with this channel. We're over 146,000 subscribers, and we're going to get over 1 million. We got some ways to go, but we can do it together. Love you all. Thank you. And just always remember that I'm here to serve you. We're here to fight for that flag and make sure that we put America first. You have a good night, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.